What's up, guys? My name is Dennis. I am actually a photographer based out of Southern California. I mainly do fashion, but every now and then I get my friends asking me to do their car photos. In this case, one of my friends actually called me to do a shot for his car, or shoot for his car, because he's actually getting rid of the car. So, as memory, he just wanted to remember the car, I guess to say. So, every now and then I go out, and people ask me, what do I do on my car photos? I don't really do much, to be honest with you. I don't really like doing automotive. I love cars and stuff, but when it comes to car photography, that's not my stronghold. But I guess people like some stuff I do on the cars, so this isn't the first time I got asked. I keep getting asked. I think this is maybe like 10th time I got asked. In my career of shooting cars, which is really not a career, so I can't really call it that. But I wanted to show you guys what I do. I've already edited this image just to show you guys what is going to go from. So this is the original. Really quickly, I shot with the D300, 17 to 35. It was 3 years ago, so I don't really remember what the what's it called? The settings were. Let me see if I can pull it up quickly. Where's my other one? Okay, never mind. I took out the hard drive that's on, but it was fairly open. The thing was fairly closed. The aperture was fairly closed. I would say maybe a f11, f8, 500th of a second with a polarizer on there. It was fairly bright out. So what I first want to show you guys is this is what is going to end up looking like. I like really dramatic car photos. And pretty much this is going to be the final outcome. I like it this way, and apparently some of my friends do eat too, because they've never complained. They all said, wow, whatever. Again, I'm not going to make a career out of car photography. It's not my career. I just shoot it just because I'm a car guy every now and then. So I want to show you guys. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my layer. So I'm in Photoshop CS6, and I'm going to show you guys exactly pretty much what I would do to this photo to get it to from here to what I like. The first thing I always do is copy my background, not repeat my background, copy my background. Just in case I screw up, I'm always going to delete this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do what I would do like a raw image. I shot this in JPEG. I don't really know why. I think I may have shot it with RAW/JPEG, but I can't find where the RAWs are. So I don't know. But alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the background, the sky blue or more dramatic. Same thing with darken the ground and bring out the car a little bit. The way I do this is through curves. So we're going to make 3 curved layers: sky, car, ground. So the way to do this is right here at the bottom. There's a little icon, circle slash. It's like a circle with half of it full and half of it empty. So we're going to click on there and go to curves, and a new layer comes up and it says curves 5. Yours is going to say something else, but because I have 4 other curves layers in here, that's why curves 5 came up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this one sky, and it's fairly simple. I'm just going to bring out my darkness, my highlights. So curves, the way it works for the people that don't know, this is highlights here, mids here, and lows here. So I can bring my lows, my highlights, my mids. So pretty simple. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my highlights down and my lows down too. And, oops, right about, let's see, maybe a little bit more. Right about there is fine. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this right here, this white layer right next to it, or this little icon right here. It's called a layer mask. What we can do now is we paint out the parts that are not in the sky that we don't want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my lasso tool, this one, the polygonal lasso tool. It's this one that looks like a broken box. And what I'm going to do is click here at the top of the sky and pretty much just follow the angle of the road, bring it to the bottom, and click it in place. Sorry guys, my headset fell off. Alright, there we go. And you guys could go in there if you guys really wanted to add with the magnetic polygon tool or lasso tool and remove the car. So just hit select, or yeah, shift, not select. I'm not playing PlayStation. And just go around it. And that was a fail. But it's close enough. And then I'm just going to go with the the lasso tool, the basic lasso tool, just to add the rest of this. Perfect. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit edit and fill. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it with black. And as you guys can see, what happens is when I fill it with black, the actual image changes. This actually gets painted out. So if I'll turn this on, this right here, the red stuff got painted with black, and everything else is clear. Didn't get affected by, or is not going to get affected by the curves layer. So again, not affected, affected. So that's the cool part about a mask, a layer mask, rather than having to go erase anything, because when you erase it, you remove your content, what's on here, you remove it. Okay, so that's sky. So I'm going to shut that one off, and I'm going to go into make another curves layer, and this one I'm going to call ground. So ground, and I just want to bring out contrast in the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down the highlights, and this time I'm going to bring down a lot of my lows, pretty much exactly what I did for the other one. So now this time what I'm going to do is, because we have a selection already made, right? This one, you can bring up that selection, so we don't have to go in and cut out the car and stuff like that, or the sky, which is still easy to do, but it's easier to just go control, and you could click this sky, the little black and white area. So click sky and you make a selection. Fairly simple. And then we go to ground, and what we can do now is select and inverse the selection. So now, rather than the sky selected, we have the ground selected, and we do the same thing we did last time. So what we don't want to be affected, we use black. Actually, sorry, I don't know why I went, whoops. Okay, so sorry, I don't know why I actually did that one. So we wanted the sky not to be affected. So yeah, just click the sky, we go edit, fill, black, and then we turn on our sky layer. Simple enough, right? You're gonna see there's not a good line between the two, but you can actually go back in there with a brush tool. So let's turn it down. Oops, wrong color. Which layer am I on? Oh, there we go. I'm painting on the wrong layer. So we just play with the two, find which one is a good layer for it. So in this case, I'm going to do a polygonal lasso tool because it's a square. Click it there, and then highlight, and boom. Okay, actually, without deselecting it, I'm gonna go repair this. There we go. That's the cool part with the curves layer, guys, and the masks. You could go in there and just repair stuff that really doesn't look good. So like right here, I'm gonna go again. I'm just gonna use the polygonal lasso tool to paint in what is missing either one of the two layers. So there's just not a good overlap. That's pretty much all that's happened here, but you could get rid of it easily by just, whoops, let's go in the wrong one again, make it bigger, wrong color, bring it out. Now we go into this ground and paint that out. There we go. So now when we bring it out full size, you guys can see there's no real change in that. Okay, so that's fine right there. Now, last but not least, we're going to make one for a car. Same thing. So curves, change this one to car, hit enter. And this time we want to bring out the car. So this time I'm going to bring out my highlights, and I'm going to add some contrast by bringing down the darks, like that. Now, what I'm going to do is select, oops, not select them, That's fine right there. And I'm going to add another thing. I'm going to add vibrance to this one. So go thing and the adjustments layer and vibrance. I just want to add about 10. It's just nothing crazy. Just, get it to look nice. So there we go. Now we're going to do the exact same thing here. But now because we with a layer mask, but now that we have two layers, I don't want to have to copy and paste the actual two layers together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on, I'm going to rename this one first, just so you guys could understand what it is. So car vibe. Where's my B? There it is. All right. So car vibe. So we hit. So what we're going to do now is going to select car vibe and car. Just hit select and click on the two layers on the next layer, and then drag and drop this one into this folder right here. And what this does, it will make a group. So now we're going to change the group name to car/vibe or VIB. Okay, and we're going to force this group, so it has the two layers in there, the car vibrance and the car. So we're going to force this group to have a mask. And the way to do this is this little icon right here. It's a square with a circle in it. When we click on it, it makes this little icon, or this white icon. And now what we can do is go in there and remove, just paint everything out besides the car. But to make this easier, because the car is a small portion of this, I'm going to go edit, fill, and I'm going to fill black to remove everything. So when I can bring this in, it's everything. Now, one thing I did forget to do, but it shouldn't really matter, because this one's on the top, I'm just going to now paint out the car, and we'll see if it affects anything. I may have to remove the car. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to paint it out the car. So just really rough paint at first. Okay, just really roughly remove it. There we go. And then I'm going to make it smaller and remove. There we go. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. And there we go. Alright, so now we select that, and let's see what we can do here. That's the car. So what I'm going to do now is select this one, and then go over here, and I'm going to add it to black. So edit, fill, black. Same thing with this one. Edit, fill. This one we're going to do white because we want to remove it. So actually that's didn't get affected. So that's fine. There we go. So that's close enough to what a good image. So now we have all three layers, and each one controls different things. So car/vibrance, the ground, and the sky. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys before, after. Simple enough, just to add some contrast and some stuff. Okay. Now I want to remove the actual things on the ground. This is fairly simple. And what I want to do is pretty much, you guys can leave these here. What this is actually doing, these are your color edits. You can always adjust this thing, and your color edits will always sit there. It will always be on top of it. It doesn't matter if you affect the bottom layer, this layer here, and that's why we repeat it. It doesn't matter if you affect this layer, because anything you guys do, the colors will just go over it. So, okay? So these are just pretty much layers on top of it. So if you imagine you put like foil and then like saran wrap on food, someone can still go into the food. If there's a way you can, touch the food without the saran wrap, the saran wrap is still there. It doesn't matter. So that's pretty much what we're going to do. Inside of it, bread, or like, let's say, for example, you're making bread and you have to wait for it to grow, the yeast. Stuff is still happening in there, and, the foil is just covering it. That's, I guess I would say, a good way to explain it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into its own folder or group. So you select all three, and you drag and drop it onto this folder group thing icon right here. And this one I'm going to call color edits. Now I'm going to make another copy of my background layer just in case I mess up something and I want to go back to this previous one. You know, it is my background layer, but you know, just to be safe than sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start removing these things on the ground. So this, my shadow, this line that ended up being here, these little oil spots, and it's really simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my spot, either my healing brush, my patch tool, or I'm going to use the clone stamp tool. Initially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the patch tool just to see how much it will remove. So the patch tool is this one right here. And I like the patch tool because it actually goes with the angle of the image. So you guys can see the road goes at an angle. So you don't want to use a clone stamp tool and then go an opposite angle because it's going to look funny. So the patch tool is cool because you can just select it and drag and drop it, and you guys can see it actually has an angle. That's not a good thing, but I mean good selection that I did there, but that's a horrible selection. Okay, so that was a horrible example there. Let me see if it will reclaim itself. Yeah, there you go. As you guys can see, it's doing a little better now, but and you guys just go around. You could just go around to everything here. Yeah. Shut up now. Okay, you guys can just go in there and just start removing, you know, your thing. And you guys can't. You don't have to be perfect, guys. Because it's a freeway. It's not perfect, especially here in California. So, but you guys just want to make sure your colors are close enough to it. And I'm going to go in here with this patch tool, and then I'm going to go back with maybe my spot healing brush tool or something just to get my colors to match a little better. But I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to come back, guys. I'm fairly close to being finished on this. Let me just show you guys real quickly. Maybe I'm going to have to go with clone stamp tool back in there. But let me see if I can do this large one right here. See if it's any good. See right there. It's not bad. Alright, so let me do this white spot right here. Not bad whatsoever. That's right here. For the sake of the tutorial, I'm not going to do this perfect, guys. Just an example so you guys can see it. But let's zoom out real quickly. And just really quickly, a before and after. Whoops, not that one. Before, after, and that was, you know, 30 seconds worth of me editing really quickly with the patch tool. So it's not anything crazy. I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna remove this line right here. I'm gonna remove this shadow. I'm just gonna use the clone stamp tool, the spot healing brush or the healing brush tool, and the clone stamp tool to just remove everything. Alright guys, so I'm back. As you guys can see, I did do some of the edits. I removed some of the things on the floor, and let's just show you guys really before, after. I forgot that one back here, so let me remove it really quickly with the spot tool. So with the spot tool, remember, just make it the size you want. Hit Alt, get close to your area, and just start painting away. Just keep resampling by hitting Alt. And there it goes. This again doesn't have to be perfect, but there it is. I didn't do a perfect job. If I was going to send this to a magazine or something, I would sit here and actually do a better job than what I did here. But for the sake of this, it's good enough. Alright guys, so next thing I'm going to do is I am going to darken the windows. People think, you know, darken the windows by just adding a black thing over it. No, the way I do it is a little different. And I'm going to darken out the headlights too. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use what is called the pen tool. The pen tool allows you to click on areas and make a selection easy, like a lasso tool. But you'll make a path in here, like a work path. So what we're going to do is hit the pen tool. You can hit P, and it's a little pen. It actually looks like a pen. So what we're going to do is that first we're going to hit Z, or your zoom, and I'm going to zoom in on the windows. And there's my friend. And we're going to darken the windows. So hit P again and select the windows. And for the people that know the pen tool, I'm doing this the cheap way and just clicking a million times just to get around the corner. But if you really wanted to, you guys can, you know, look up the pen tool and actually how to use it. I do know how to use it. I just, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm not going to sit here and be a perfectionist. Because with the pen tool, you guys could actually use it to bend and make it actually a really nice curve around the window, like I'm not doing. uh, but you can let me do one so I can show you guys. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, you guys can click on it and bend it to actually get a better image. I mean a nice little curve around it. So let me show you guys. See, like that. Just like that, and then you guys could do another one here, like that. But to be honest with you, I'm just gonna do. I'm doing it horrible, guys. So, whoops, that was a horrible click. So I'm just gonna click around. Hold on. Sorry, guys, my concentration is not here today. Alright, so there we go. So now what we're going to do is right here, we're going to go to your path icon. We're going to click it, and you're going to see a work path. Now, this is actually the thing we circled around with the with a pencil. So what we're going to do is select it by right-clicking, make selection, and you're going to see a feather thing. I put 1 pixel. I just like it because it makes it a little bit cleaner. And 1 pixel is not that bad. And you guys can see it made a selection of the windows. Most people think, okay, let me go and add a black color over it, and then just turn down the opacity and blend mode. You know, that looks horrible. What I do is bring in another curves layer. So you go to the adjustment and curves, and just darken. So that's a little too much. I want it darker. Like just enough where I can't see my friend. There. So there you go. That's simple enough. And ready? Whoops, I moved the whole thing wrong button. Alright, there you go. So like that. See? You can still see through it. Like the front window, it just tinted. It looks like tint. So let's check out the front headlight. It pretty much just looks like the actual housing is darkened. So that's perfect. Now, I know he has really good brakes. These are really nice brakes. They're fairly expensive, including the rims are fairly expensive too. So I know what he would want to do is bring out the actual color, or what I want to do is bring out the actual color of these brake calipers, or just bring them out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a selection with my just a regular marquee tool, or you can do your lasso, whatever one you please. So like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a hue and saturation layer just to get this color where I want to. So what I'm going to do, adjustment layers, hue saturation, bring it to the blue, and just bring out my saturation out. So what is 55 looks good. And then come out. There we go. It's a little subtle change, but for the people that know that change, for those brakes, they're, it's good. Don't show again. Sorry guys, my my hard drive, I actually stepped on the cord and got it yanked out, so it's actually freaking it out for a minute. Don't know why. So let me turn on my hard drive real quickly. Alright, so there we go. Stay plugged in. Okay, so back to work. Okay, next what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this little this little reflection. The way I'm going to do this one's a little ghetto. Like rather than doing the windows, painting it black, I'm actually going to do this one and paint it in. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in close enough, and I'm going to remove the stuff that are fairly large. So the way I'm going to do this is on my background layer, I'm going to click it and make a selection right there. Now I'm going to hit Control J, and what this does is it's going to make a copy of just that selection. So now if I'm going to mess up, I'm just going to mess up on the selection. So there we go. I'm just going to show you guys on this thing. Now I'm going to use either the clone stamp tool. That's what I'm just pretty much going to use, the clone stamp tool. There's different ones you can use, but just for, again, the sakes of this tutorial, I'm just going to use that one, and I'm just going to paint, whoops, too far up. Clone stamp tool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the sample tool, so this little eyedropper, and I'm going to click and I'm going to change it to either 5 by 5 or 11 by 11 average. And what it does is, rather than a point sample, when you click on it, you're going to see it's just one sample. When I do a 3 by 3, it's going to check 3 by 3 3 pixels by 3 pixels, 5 pixels by 5 pixels, 11 pixels by 11 pixels, 101 by 101. So that's good enough. So alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the brush and I'm going to paint in this area. Whoops, guys, I just forgot. I should make a new layer, and then paint the area in. Okay, so paint. And I don't really like it because it's not matching it correctly. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a 5 by 5 and actually pick a different color, a little higher, right there. So let's do it now. So color, whoops, that's a problem. Okay, so let's try that. So paint. Again, why is it doing that? Whatever. Okay, so now we're gonna do Gaussian blur. So go filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and we're gonna do quite a bit. That's too much until it's still visible. To about 72, but looks like good enough. So 72, and then I'm gonna bring in all the layers so you can see it. Okay, so now I'm gonna use a layer mask to paint out the areas I don't want to paint. So right there, oops, change colors, painter. This is annoying. Alright, so there we go, too much. There we go. There we go. There we go. Just paint it out. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to extend it a little bit. Not the layer mask, but the actual layer itself, the color layer. So I'm going to do image, puppet wrap. And I'm going to bring out, not that. Okay, so I'm going to put a pin there, pin there, pin there, pin there, pin there, and just pretty much add pins. And what this is actually going to let me do is where those pins are, I'm actually going to be able to tweak it. So I'm going to bring it out there. This one I'm going to bring out there. This one I'm going to bring the color out. Same thing with this. Same thing with that. Like that. And like that. So we're going to hit OK. And then we're going to adjust the layer mask once again to actually fit in correctly. So, whoops, layer mask. Whoops, I gotta go back a little bit. There we go, layer mask. Now, to remove this, I'm gonna change my opacity a little more. Okay, now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go really, really low on my opacity, like 20 pretty much, and just start removing. That's way too much too. 5. I'm going to start removing layers. My pressure is on. That's why. Okay, so I'm going to start this over. And I'm just going to remove just a little bit of it. And then I'm going to change the blending mode to overlay. Not overlay, what was it? Multiply? Yeah, where is it? Lighten. Okay, line's fine. Alright, and then it's not gone, but it's a lot better. So I would sit there and actually go in there and paint it more and blend it a little better with other colors, but just for tutorial 6 again, good enough. Alright, so now let's change these, and I'm going to add all these layers. So I'm just going to select all of them, drag them into a group. I'm going to change this group to edit. Okay, and I'm going to double this group by, or duplicate this group by either right clicking on it and duplicate group, or let's change the name. Okay, There you go. Or I'm going to delete this. Or you guys can drag and drop the edit into the new layer. And this will make a new thing. So now what I'm going to do is call it car. And then what I'm going to do is either you can click on it and it's going to say merge group. There's a little icon right here, merge group, Control E, or go layer merge group. So we're going to merge the group. Alright, and now I'm going to add a vignetting. This is like my last couple steps. Actually, I'm going to desaturate it first, and I forgot about that one. What I'm going to do is now make two different copies. So copy car copy and copy 2. Desat 1 and then desat 2. Okay, I like the car to be vibrant, but then I want to change the way the actual sky looks, and this is what I do in fashion photography, and it really looks cool. So every now and then I try doing it in car photography. So I go layer, and this is one. The reason I made 3 of them is you can actually just go in here and add, you know, hue and saturation. But this one I like just to see 3 different layers. So desat 1. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to image adjustments, hue and saturation, and I'm going to go quite a bit down, just where the colors are almost non-existent. So there you go. 60 is good. And then this one I usually just go half of it. So 30 or 20 or 30 is good. So let's see, negative. Let's do 25. Just not 240. 25. So you can see the first one. That's that one. That's normal. First desaturation, second desaturation. Now, my first desaturation, I'm gonna, or both of them actually, we're gonna do a mask. So mask and mask, and we're gonna paint it with black. But the first one, I'm gonna do the sky. So I'm gonna hit my backslash, bring in my color. So change my colors back to normal by hitting D, and I'm gonna hit my paintbrush and change it to a gradient tool. I'm gonna have a paintbrush, my paint bucket, and then make sure you select the layer mask, and then I'm just gonna get my angle correctly. There we go. Come on now. Why are you being stupid? Okay, there we go. Now I got my angle, so now we just gotta go up with it a little bit more. Too much. There we go. Close enough. And so when I hit deselect, the sky is selected. Now this one I like it. You know what? I like the ground a little bit more, so I'm going to remove this desaturation. That's fine. There we go. Now I'm going to do a overlay, or a darken actually. So it gives you that really good dark cloud, an actual cloud. This is a little too blue. This is nice right there. Alright, let's do the vignetting. I like vignetting to make the car stand out. Okay, so I make a new layer, and this is how I do it. And I go to my marquee and elliptical marquee tool. You could just keep holding M. Hey, come on. Okay, it's being stupid. Okay, so you can just click on it, make an elliptical marquee tool. Okay, and I want to select the car. So just make a round oval. And make a go selection, inverse, or shift control I. And fill it in with black. So edit, fill, black. There we go. And deselect. And then go edit, free transform. And what I'm going to do is actually now get it with the angle of the car. Right about there. So now we're going to adjust it, just extend it, extend it, extend it, extend it to fill in, bring it down a little bit. Actually, that's good enough. Alright, so we hit OK. And what I want to do is I'm going to copy this layer, and I'll show you in a second why. And so I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to click on the layer below it. So we're going to go filter, Gaussian blur, Gaussian blur, and we're going to go quite a bit high. I think 500 is good enough. There we go, 500 is good enough. Now I'm going to select this layer. I'm going to hit Control. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to paint it in there. So don't worry about copying that later. I'm just going to paint in my car. So remember, just create a mask, and paint out the car. And I gotta change the percentage. Paint out the car. Ooh, make a soft brush. Soft brush. Bring out some of the ground around it. Bring out some of the clouds. And I'm gonna bring down my opacity a little bit. So there we go. Bring out the ground. Close enough. Right there in the front. Some of it in the back. Now, what I'm gonna do is bring down the opacity a little bit, and I'm gonna put it into a multiply. Or actually, we could do overlay. Let's see, darker color. Darker color is fine. So I mean, you can play with the vignetting. That's the cool part about a vignette. And so finally, I mean, I got pretty close to actually doing a the before and after. So let's see. Whoops. That's the one I initially did, and now. So that was close. That was pretty close. I actually like the front bumper a little more because it actually looks more realistic than the other one I did. But there you go, guys. I mean, that's close enough. I think this one's really low. That's why the vignetting. But I mean, the cool part of the vignetting is you can bring it quite a bit low. I mean, 30 and still get the effect of vignette without having too much power. So what's this one at? Edit vignetting 35 or 36. So it's close enough, to be honest with you. Let's see. What is it at? 30. So the other one's at 35. So let's do 35. And there you go, guys. I mean, that's pretty much what I do, minus some variations in fashion. I like to do fashion photography a little bit more dramatic. I'll make a video about how I do fashion photography. I think I'll record it next, but for you guys, you're gonna have to wait. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Again, what I would have done is, you know, it was 30 minutes. I just wanted to show you guys the basic, simple stuff of what I actually do when I edit cars. I didn't want to sit here and bore you guys and just say this, and this, and this, and this. But I put it together just to show you guys, hey, this is what I do. This is what I like to do. You know, everybody's different. But to be honest with you, I really don't care, you know, what people say. You know, photography is an art. Everybody has different styles, so you guys should never really care what people say. If you guys like your images, you know, that's great. As long as you guys are not on you're not a photographer.com, I think you're doing good. So, you know, again, guys, this is not my career. I don't do car photography, but I just take what I learned from fashion into automotive. To be honest with you guys, looking at this image, what I would have done again was remove the background. I would have found a stock images of clouds and inserted clouds, like really, really dramatic clouds, and maybe put a city in the background instead of, you know, these trees. I would remove all the trees and just put a city back here, like in this corner, maybe LA. It just a little different change. I would have maybe added some more motion blur to the wheels and onto the ground. There's a lot of stuff you guys can do, and it usually takes a really, really long time. A lot of your car photography is actually, you know, pasted from other photos, like the backgrounds, lights, and different things. I mean, there's a lot of different things you guys can do. Like, to be honest with you, I can add a really quick solar flare, like, you know, add a new layer, edit, fill 50% gray, do an overlay. Whoops, overlay. Oh, look, guys, it went away. When you guys do a 50% gray and do an overlay, it goes away. So filter, what is it? Render, lens flare from the sun, brightness. Let's do yeah, that's fine. Do lens flare. There we go. See? And then I can just go in here, brightness and contrast, throw up some contrast, and then last but not least, throw in a hue and saturation to change that to more of a blue. and then link it to this. Now, whoops. Let's do a flare. Before, after, nothing crazy. There you go. So I mean, if I really wanted to do it, I could do that. So that's what I'm just saying, guys. There's so many different things you guys can do in Photoshop and to change the way your image looks. But just sit there, and if you guys like it, who cares if anybody else says it? You may not end up getting awards for it. It may not be ended up in magazines, but to be honest with you guys, your taste will change. The way you edit, and yeah, your knowledge of Photoshop may not be there. To be honest with you, like when I first started Photoshop, I had no idea some of the stuff I do now. Like I never knew curves and layers mask. I actually, one day a friend of mine came over and he started playing on Photoshop, and I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, these are layer masks, and you can do this and this." And then I went and actually just started playing around with it, and I learned my stuff. So to be honest with you, this image to me looks really, really dramatic, and I love it. And this was before, all dirty, dark. I mean, very, very bright to that. That is, a difference. It may not be, again, magazine worthy, but to my friends, they love it. So, alright guys, I will post this image before and after just to show you guys. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments if whatever else you guys like to see, fashion and car stuff. Again, I'm not a car photographer, so my car stuff are limited, but I'm pretty sure I can get a car to shoot. So let me know, guys. Again, thank you guys for watching. Sorry for wasting 42 minutes of your time. I hope you did enjoy, guys, and hope to hear from you guys soon. Again, just leave it down below in the comments. Let me know what you guys like, what you guys didn't like, what I can change. And again, guys, just for the sake of this tutorial, is just the way I did it. You guys don't have 4 to 5 hours to sit with me and watch me do the whole image. So, alright guys, I hope you enjoy, and again, let me know down below what you guys think. Alright guys, take care. Bye.